See, some people have already joined. I haven't started just yet. I'm gonna wait another like minute or so just before I get going. Okay, I'm gonna give it another 30 seconds or so, and then I'm gonna get started. Okay, so it's about 12:01. So I think I'm gonna get started now. And like usual, if anyone's a little bit late, I'm still recording this, and I'll send out a follow-up following today's webinar with this recording and some additional links. All right, so hi everybody. My name is Sophie and I'm part of the customer success team here at Umapped. So again, I'm so thankful that you've registered and joined us for our 5-day long bootcamp series. And thank you for taking the time to join us for today for this final part of that 5-part series. And thanks for sticking along throughout this whole period. So each day for this week of August, we'll build on what we've learned during the previous sessions. And from this series, you can expect engaging, results-oriented lessons packed with tips and tricks, and all of the tools you need to start building your trips, templates, vendors, and documents. So during today's session, we're going to be focusing on templates, including how to create templates and the differences between creating templates and trips, how to manage templates as a company administrator, how to convert templates into trips and vice versa, and lastly, how you can tag your templates and what exactly tagging even is. As always, we'll leave some time for a Q&A at the end of today's session. I just ask, of course, that you try to keep your questions relegated to the topic at hand, so templates and tagging. If you do have any other questions towards the end, since this is the last day, feel free, but I'm going to try to start with just questions about template and tagging. All right, so like always, just a couple more housekeeping items before we get started. So I'm going to send out a follow-up email after this session that will include a recording of the session, some important links to training and instructions, as well as some of the upcoming webinars that we'll be putting on in September. And additionally, if by chance you're still new to Umapped, I just want to make sure that you know how to access your complimentary trial. So from our website, which is umapped.com, click on sign up at the top right, and then complete the trial form. Once your trial account has been set up, a member of our customer success team will send you a confirmation email with your account credentials and login instructions. So with that, let's get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is talk about what templates even are, which you can access by clicking on the menu icon from the top left corner, clicking on Library, and then it's the first tab, Templates. So if you've been using the Trip Publisher for more than a year, you may remember using templates in the older Trip Publisher interface. We have since redesigned the template functionality to make it easier to create and save travel information that can be reused time and time again that your customers will love. So what exactly are templates? Templates are day-by-day itineraries, much like trips, but without specific dates. Instead, you would set a template duration and include all of the elements that you'd want in a great trip. Templates can be reused over and over again to create itineraries for your clients. So you can think of templates kind of like a model of a trip, which can include all of the base elements that you want in a great trip, with room later on to add more specific bookings or booking details like flights or insurance information. When creating templates, you can, let's just go into a trip. I'll do that again, sorry, template. So you can add destination content from one of our integrated sources, such as WCities and FAR, and or content from your library. So templates can be content rich. You can make your templates available to other advisors in your company. So if I go back to library, you can see that there's a section for company templates. You can convert existing trips into templates so that they're easy to use again in the future. And you can even add tours from our integrated suppliers to create more creative and elaborate templates. So remember, if you find yourself creating the same or similar typed trips, using templates will save you time because you don't have to start from scratch each time. So this gives you more time to personalize your customers' trips and to sell more. All right, so we're just going to go into something that I've already created, like sample trip to Aspen. And you can see that this basically has all of the basic stuff I'd want in a trip. So let's go back, and now let's actually start by navigating to the templates dashboard like I just did and create a brand new template. So creating a template and a trip is almost the same in terms of workflow. As you can see, to begin with, I need to click on the plus new button, and then I have to enter a name for my template, just like I would with a trip. So I'll do sample template to Colorado. The first key difference between templates and trips that you can see here is that there's no specific dates or times. Instead, I have to set a duration or a time of the day when creating the template or segments. All right, so for this one, I'll do 7 days. And then I can add tags if I'd like, but this is not the tags we're going to be talking about today, so I'm going to omit this field for now. And to save this, I'm going to click on Create Template. Now that I'm within the template, you can immediately see even more differences. For one, there are less options for details in segments, which I'll show later. And there's also no import booking sections in the left navigation menu. So just like with trips, the left menu allows you to add a variety of content, such as integrated suppliers, destination content, and additional supporting documents. On the right side of the screen, click the Add icon to create your own booking segments and add trip notes. To spruce up this template and begin building the foundation of a future trip, I'll add a couple activity segments that I've already saved in my vendors. That way I don't have to just add photos or address information. I can just concentrate on actually building my template. So my first one that I'm going to add is Aspen Highlands that I created a little while ago, and I'm going to have that start on day 2. Add. You can see this already has some photos, and if I go into the vendor profile, I can even add an address. So let's say Aspen Highlands. There we go. Oh, yeah, 30 seconds. Let's do ski resort. There. Save. And I'm also going to add a second activity, which is going to be called Grottoes Trail. There we go. And I'm going to have that one be on day 3. Add to template. And it already has some photos. And just like with the trip, I'm also going to add my cover photo, as this will remain part of this template even after I convert it to a trip. So I'm just going to look up Colorado on unsplash.com just to get a photo. Let's use that one. Yeah, that's perfect. And then voila. You'll also note that you can't add travelers to a template, so there's no share icon or traveler button on the left-hand side. In order to send this to a traveler, I would actually have to convert this into a trip. And this is because templates are designed for internal use only, whereas trips are meant to be sent externally to travelers. So if this base template is what I'd like to present to a client before adding their specific information, like flights, you can always simply publish the template. And then you can always convert that into a trip to send off to your travelers to peruse. So let's get a little bit more into what that might look like. So let's say that I only have 2 activities here, but if I had had everything that I needed in this template, now let's talk about how publishing a template works by explaining the difference between publish and unpublish. Let's go back to my library to start with. So if a trip is pending, which it is by default when you first create the template, then it can be edited and changed, and changes can continue to be made with it. So once a template has been published, no more changes can be made. If you need to make changes to a published template, just go into that particular template and you can select Unpublish from the top left-hand side. And that will allow you to make template changes again. So it's important to note whether your template is published or not because of the following couple of rules. So a template has to be published in order to import it into a trip or to actually create a trip from that template. You'll notice if I do that on a pending, it doesn't give me that option. A template has to be published in order for it to be available to your company. You'll notice that these are all published. They only give me the unpublished option. And a template has to be pending to add a trip to an existing template. So you'll see if I go into, let's find it, sample template to Colorado, there's an option here to import a trip into my template, but it will disappear as soon as I publish my template. But that being said, there's no limit to how many times you can publish and unpublish a template. I could do it literally as many times as I'd like. So once you've created and published your template, the next logical step will be to convert that template into a trip so that you can then send it to your travelers. There are a few different ways to convert a trip into a template depending on your workflow. So we'll go over all of the different methods as well as the different scenarios that might exhort you to choose one method over another. So the first scenario we have is to use the newly created template, navigate to the template's dashboard, which is right here. Click on the options icon to the right of the template and select Create Trip from Template. From here, you just need to give it a trip name. So this could be trip to Colorado for the Smiths or something. And then you just need to choose a start date. You can also do this from within the template itself. So if I go into the template, you'll notice that there is a little plus sign just to the right of the template name and duration. You can select this and click on Create Trip from Template to do the exact same thing. So you can type in a new trip name, choose a start date, and then create your trip from your template. And then finally, if I have an existing trip already, such as, let's start one. Let's say that I've already started a trip to Colorado independently of the templates that I'd already created. Let's do that, create trip. You'll notice that there's the option in the left-hand side to import a template directly into my trip. Here, all I need to do is enter the names of sample templates to Colorado, select it, and then choose the date that I'd like it to start on. And this could be helpful if you'd already started a trip that had a couple different destinations. So you wanted to take a little bit of the template that you'd already created, but you had some other things going on as well. So maybe if this was a trip to Colorado that went to a couple different places, etc. Of course, you can always do the reverse as well. So if you have a really successful trip that you can see yourself reusing again in the future, you can always convert that trip into a template for safekeeping. Keep in mind that the template doesn't have to 100% match the trip that you originally sent your travelers on. So for example, maybe you just want to keep the base activities and hotels. So let's try trip to Italy. We're going to create a new template, although you can also add to an existing template if you had maybe not a full-fledged template to Italy being put together. And you can always modify your template later on, so don't worry about whether your trip is the absolute perfect model for all of your future trips. Personally, when I convert my trips into templates, the first thing I do is remove all of the flight information, as that can always be added in for your particular travelers once you're using this template in the future. So just like before, there are a few different options for how to create a template from a trip, but we'll go over all of the options again just to reiterate how to do so. So from the trips dashboard, which is where I am right now, you can click the options icon just to the right of the trip, and you can create a new template, or like I said, add it to an existing template. Although if you're going to add it to an existing template, it needs to be in pending status, like I mentioned before. Another thing you could do is, if you have a template already started, such as I have one called Trip to Italy. If it's unpublished, like it is here, I can always import a trip into my template. So I can add my trip to Italy, wait for it to appear in my internet might be a little bit slow, so I'm just going to skip over that and try it again. Italy. My internet's being a little bit slow right now, but essentially exactly like I did before with the trip, it'll appear as an option just below here that you can select and then choose a start date on which to put it. One important thing to note is that any supporting documents from the original trip will not be added into the created template, as the platform assumes that these documents are sensitive to the specific travelers that were on that original trip. So if you ever need documents to be carried over, always remember to re-add them to the template. And I'll show you this as just an example. So I'll take the sample trip to Western Canada that we did yesterday, and I'm just going to show again that in the documents we had Western Canada, and we also have my agency terms and conditions. So if I were to create a brand new template from this, brand new template, Western Canada, create. If I go into the documents now, you'll see there's no library content and there's also no file attachments, because those were removed in the conversion, just because our system assumes that if you had any file attachment here, they might have been sensitive to the particular travelers, like maybe the vouchers were just meant for the Smith family, or there were some documents that were the itinerary, part of the itinerary for that family, and you wouldn't want those to accidentally be kept in the template and then accidentally distributed to new travelers in the future. So if you did have anything here in the original trip, just remember to come and re-add them. Since I already have them stored in my library, it's honestly not a big deal. I can just do agency terms and conditions, Western Canada. Okay, so we're back in the templates, that's good. So now that we've covered how to build templates, we're going to navigate back to the template dashboard where I am right now and look at how templates can be managed from within your company. So this next section primarily concerns company administrators. You can identify if you're a company administrator if you have the admin tab just over here when you click on the menu icon. That's only accessible to company administrators, so that will automatically let you know what you are. And then once you have that knowledge, you can have the ability to see all of the templates created by the users in your company and then make the templates available for everyone in your company. So the first thing I'm going to do is explain what the difference is between my templates, group templates, and company templates. Just like with trips, my templates are all of the templates that you have created, both published and pending. Group templates are only available for company administrators or members of the same group. Company administrators can see every single template created by everyone in their company. If a template is pending, the company administrator can still make edits to the template. You can see here I can add stuff. And if the template is published, then the company administrator can set the template to be available to everybody in the company, or I can actually unpublish it and still make some edits and then republish it. And then finally, company templates. So every single person in a company has access to this tab, not just company administrators. This tab only contains published templates that were made available to everybody in the company by a company administrator. And just like I mentioned before, only a company administrator has the ability to make a template a company template. So I'm going to demonstrate how to make a template available in company templates. So first, we're going to go to Group Templates and select a pending template that has not been created by my administrator account. So we're going to do London and Paris. And I'm going to briefly go into this trip just to show that also as the company administrator, I have the ability to make changes and then publish it and edit it and stuff. And you'll notice that there's a little lock icon in the blue bar, which indicates right now that this is a private template. So private templates are only available for the creator to use and the company administrators to see. If I click on the lock icon, it will change into a shop front icon. And now, if I go into my company templates, you'll see it's now available in company templates. So anybody now could access this from my company. So I'll navigate back to group templates. You'll see it's no longer available here. So any templates that were made available to the company are no longer going to appear in group templates, and they're also no longer going to appear under my templates for the original creator. They're only going to appear here. And then from here, anybody can access this and create a trip from it. So this allows all of my advisors within my company to know exactly what templates they should be using, and some people can add some, other people can add some, and you can make sure that there's a plethora of different templates available to everybody in the company. Okay, and then lastly, today we're going to talk about tagging, which I'm pretty sure is going to be new information for everyone because I don't believe we've previously done a comprehensive webinar around tagging. So the tagging functionality works best if you and your colleagues tend to create a high volume of templates. This is because essentially tags, as well as tag groups, you'll notice these are two distinct things, which I'll talk about, allow you to easily categorize and then search for your templates. So creating tags and tag groups allows you to tag a template. By tagging templates, it is easier to sort and then search for multiple templates. Note at the moment that only company administrators have the ability to create, edit, delete tags and tag groups, just because then they are the ones that are curating what kinds of tags are available to use for templates. Assigning tags and tag groups to your templates allows you to organize your templates across these 5 different tag categories, which are destination, trip type, price, experiences, and amenities. You can quickly search and find templates that are relevant to your client's travel interest by these tags. You can review and assess what destinations, features, or price points are winning with your clients. And you can promote templates that you want your advisors to sell for company admins. A common scenario would be to create templates for destinations that you frequently sell to, and to use tags to describe some of the key attributes of that template. For instance, I have a little table here. So we've created a template called Classic Italy, and then we use tags to specify some of the specific attributes. So here are some examples of tags and tag groups across the 5 different available tag categories, just to kind of give you an idea of what a tag versus a tag group is and things that you can use. So for destination, for example, for classic Italy, I would use Rome, Florence, Tuscany, and Venice to specify where they were going. And then in the overall tag groups, I would put Europe and Italy because these are all contained within those 2. Of course, I could choose just to have Italy as well, or just have Europe. I just wanted to create a couple different ones. For the trip type, I put family friendly and small groups. Could also be a large group, company trip, something like that. For price, I put luxury and then moderate in value. For experiences, in the overall tag, I did tours, cooking school, shopping, and art. And then this is all contained within the tag group Italy Must Do. And then for amenities, under the tag group hotel amenities, I included swimming pool and spa. So this is just a really, really brief example of some of the different tags and tag groups you could conceivably create. So let's go back to my page. So within the tag categories, apart from price and trip type, tag attributes can also be added to tags and tag groups. So these are the attributes right here, tag details, I would say. So these tag details allow you to add more description to your tags and tag groups just for yourself to have a little bit more of a see what these mean. So now that we've talked a little about the logic behind tagging, let's go a little into the practical aspect. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a tag. So since earlier today, we were talking about my sample template to Colorado and Aspen and all of that, I'm going to create a tag that's called Aspen. So this is going to be a destination tag. You'll notice that I'm in the destination category right now. So if I click on the add icon, the only option I have to create a tag is within the destination category. So I'm going to do Aspen, and I'm going to create that tag. And give it a second. And now, of course, I could add any kind of information I'd like here just to give my tag a little more context. You don't need to fill out all of these. It's really not a necessity. But if I wanted to, I could add country, United States. Let's get down to that. United States. Here, update. Continent if I wanted to, North America, etc. Just to give my tag a little more context. And this is particularly helpful with things like experience and amenities, in my opinion. So with experiences, maybe for this, I want to put hiking, create my tag. And I can also, if I notice that I have a couple different tags in this particular tag category that are related to each other, like maybe for me, adventure and hiking are kind of related, and sometimes I would just like to add one tag instead of adding adventure and hiking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a tag group called outdoor excursions. So now I've created an overall tag group. And what I can do is I can actually attribute adventure and hiking to this tag group so that when I tag with this tag group, it also will relate to adventure and hiking. So what I'm going to do here is in the search tag bar, I'm going to write in adventure. And then I'm going to select adventure. That was one of the tags that I'd originally created. And I'm also going to choose hiking. So now adventure and hiking are both associated with outdoor excursions. So I'll show you this in a few minutes, but I can actually just tag my sample template to Colorado with outdoor excursions. So it's just one thing rather than 7 different things from the same tag category. And then maybe I'll make one last tag in amenities, and I'll put tag, let's say spa. and we're going to create that tag. Perfect. Okay, so now that I've shown you how to create tags and how to create tag groups, and I also briefly showed you, where was it? Here in experiences, how to create a tag group and affiliate different tags with that tag group. Now we're going to go into my template and we're going to actually add one of those tags. So we're going to go into sample template 2 Colorado. We're going to unpublish it because tags can only be added when the template is still in pending status. And then down here in the left-hand side where it says tags, we're going to select this. And then you just select the category to start off with. So I'm going to do experiences. I can add one of my individual tags, or I can add one of my tag groups. One second. Actually, I'm going to add Aspen. Yeah, let's add Aspen. And I'm also going to add spa. And then if we go back to my library, the first thing you'll notice that when I hover over the preview here, all of my tags that I just added are going to be added to the bottom of the preview. So by the way, if you don't already know, the preview occurs on all of your trips and all of your templates and just allows you to see at a glance what's going to be in that template or trip. And it also includes tags at the very bottom for any templates right there. And now if I easily search for them here, it's going to pop up. Sample template to Colorado, which used the tag spa. And same thing if I do Aspen, it's going to pop up, as well as, what was the other one I added? Sample trip, let's do hiking. I spelled it right. There you go. And so that's how essentially tags work. That's why I say they do work a lot better if you have a high volume of templates. Like I only have around 19, so it might not be the end of the world if I decide I don't want to tag mine, just because I can easily scroll here and find out what I'm looking for. But if you have quite a lot of templates, hundreds, even a couple dozen, it might be a really good thing for you to be able to quickly sort through them rather than having to click down here and switch to different rows per pages, or click the arrows to go from the next page to the next page to the next page. So it really depends on your volume of templates, but it gives you a lot more time to just sort everything out and then easily call one up later on just by putting whatever the tag is in the search bar and pulling it up. Okay, so one second. All right, so over the course of this webinar, we've looked at everything to do with templates, including how to create templates and the difference between creating templates versus trips, how to manage templates as a company administrator, and lastly, how to convert templates into trips, vice versa, and how tagging works. So at this point, I'm going to move on to the live Q&A portion of this webinar. So again, I would like to encourage everyone not only to ask questions about what you've seen during this session, but anything that you have questions about in general. And this can be templates and tagging, but to be honest, since today's the last session, it could be about literally anything. And for anybody that can't stay for the Q&A, I just want to say thank you for participating in this week's webinar series. As mentioned, I'll be sending out a follow-up email with a link to a recording and further instructions and more stuff. And then what we're going to be doing in September as well. So now I'm just going to get into some questions and I'm going to have a sip of water. Okay, so Estefania asked, hey, do you have any template examples of how a cruise trip would look? I think I might have created one a little while ago, but let me just check. Did I create a cruise? Group template, company template. Ah, yes, Mediterranean cruise. So this is essentially how a cruise template might look. I don't have any photos because I think I just created this really quickly a little while ago, but like always, if I unpublish this template, you can always create your vendors straight inside a template and then quickly add some photos. So I'm just going to put a photo of the sea because this one is for at sea. This is the sea. Upload photo. Et voila. And then publish. So this is kind of an example of what a cruise template might look like. I think I did this quite quickly a little while ago, so by no means is this the end-all be-all of what it could look like. Christy wants to know, can anyone publish and unpublish and make changes to a company template? So no, at the moment, the only people that can make edits and changes to a company template are a company administrator. So if I go in as the company administrator, I can publish and unpublish a company template and make edits, but another user type would only be able to use them to create trips from. They wouldn't be able to come here and make edits. The company templates are essentially locked and only a company administrator can come and then make them private again or make edits or unpublish them. Estefania asked if that itinerary that I was in earlier was imported. Oh, it wasn't this one. It was this one right here, Mediterranean cruise. Oh yeah, this Norwegian epic definitely came from our cruise database. So this one was imported. You could also make your own and have that stored in a template. That actually might be the best idea for if anybody had ever tried to find a cruise that wasn't in the cruise database, you could always make yourself a template to have that saved so you don't need to add the same cruise stops again and again. So this could be SS Umapped cruise. Duration, let's say 6 days, tag. And then up from here, I'm gonna click on cruise. I'm gonna click on add cruise rather than looking it up because let's say I know for sure it's not in the public database. I'm gonna do SS Umapped. I've already done this in the past, but I'm gonna avoid clicking on it. I'm gonna say disembark date is the 6th. Departure port is Miami, Port of Miami, Miami, Port of Miami. And then, what else am I losing? Generic. What am I missing? Umapped. Generic Port of Miami. Sail date 1. June. Must be missing something. There may be a bug here. I'm just looking at this for a second. I'll come back to that in a little bit. Okay, answered that. Dana asks, can we tag documents in our library to add to templates? So that's a good question. At the moment, these tags aren't the same thing as the things we were talking about, but I wonder, Ireland, that, save. Yeah, so you can tag your documents by using the tags right here, but it's not the same thing as the tags we were talking about before because those other tags, no, don't delete it. These tags here have much more additional context than the tag that I just added to my documents. The tag that I just added to my document just gave me a way to like search up another keyword in order to pull up that document. So, you know, maybe this one says about Dublin and I want to say Ireland. Another tag could be must-dos. Another tag could be Europe, etc. And that just helps me easily sort through my documents later on. See, I pulled up Europe, pulled up about Dublin using that. But these tags are specifically meant for templates because they do give a lot more context than your average tag, especially since I can have, the tag groups as well as tags and have all of these different categories to give me even more context. So you couldn't tag other things with these ones. These are meant specifically for templates. But you can add a type of tag for your documents. Dana also asked, how do I share the library document that I created for yesterday's webinar? I think I included a link to the Google form yesterday. So if you're not able to access that, just let me know, because that Google form should have told you to just write the name of the library document, and then I just go into your account and I see it. But I'll send you further instructions later. Andrea asked, I may have missed it, but can you save your trips to attach or save as a PDF or some other platform? Oh yeah, so in your trips, there's always the ability to save as a PDF. So if I go into literally any of my trips and I click on the preview icon, you can click on either version of the PDF. This PDF includes photos, the other one doesn't because it's more printer friendly. But yeah, you can always save your trips as a template. And this is what mine looks like because of the particular format that I've chosen. But you can always choose to make certain photos smaller, just have them be thumbnails, or have a combination of thumbnails and large photos. You can add PDF page breaks within a trip also if you want to make sure that there's nothing else on a specific page. So if I want, I can click on view details, and then where it says change tags, you can actually maybe just place this at the end, or you can insert a PDF page break before and after. And essentially what that looks like is, let's find it. I'm just gonna make it again. Make it again, PDF. Download my PDF. And then Lake Louise is all on its own page because I added a page break before it and after it. So if you really want to split things up for, maybe someone that just wants to have each segment on each day, you can always do that too on each page. Okay, what else? Rosa asked, can we share templates with our clients as a web view mode without needing to put in the specific dates of the trips? So at the moment, no, because templates are meant for internal use only. But as I've mentioned in the past, I think our team right now is working on a proposal feature that will allow you to share options of trips with your clients without putting specific dates on it. So that's being worked on by our development team at the moment. It's probably like the top priority amongst all the work that we're doing in terms of, it's all the work that we're doing. So if anyone's interested in proposals, I have a beta test list being put together for anybody that wanted to try it out when it's released in beta form. So let me know if you're interested. And when I have more information about a release date for proposals, I'll reach out to you. But at the moment, templates are strictly internal. You couldn't send the web view of this to anybody. You'd have to make a trip from it. Dana wants to know, can you show us again how to add a PDF to our library? I'm wanting to add a real itinerary to a virtual trip itinerary and then put it into a template. Okay, great question. So yesterday I showed you this with something that I'd already done, but I'm going to do it from the top here just so that it makes the most sense. So if I go into, let's say, About Toronto, and then, maybe for an existing page or maybe just for a brand new page, I can say this page is called PDF of X. I don't really know what it is. I'm just going to use a random PDF I have on my computer, but you don't need to have it be anything fancy. You can just make a page. And then here, in one of the interactive elements for the page, you're going to find this part that says attach file. So you're going to click on that. and you're going to upload a file. So then you're just going to go on your desktop and you're going to find whatever PDF it is. So maybe I'll choose my voucher that I use all the time, and I'm going to attach that file. And now I know that I attached this file to a page, but that's just because it's the only mechanism in the library of like hosting a PDF, but you don't necessarily have to add this page to a trip. You can just add the file if you'd like. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to go into one of my templates. Let's say Beaver Creek ski trip. And in my documents, file attachments, I'm going to attach a file, but instead of uploading a brand new file, here in search library, I'm going to look up voucher. And that came from the file that I just attached to a page. So I'm going to attach that file. And voila, now it's just that voucher that I added and nothing more. It's obviously not a voucher. I just needed a PDF for my examples. But essentially that means I don't need to add the page. I just added that PDF that I saved in my library. One second. Okay, so there's a couple of people that asked about the proposals. I'm just gonna write down that I'm gonna add you so that I can keep a list for myself. That way I know who to respond to after today. Estefania asked, is it added manually? So like I mentioned for the template that I was in earlier, this one was added from the database, but you could also add one manually here. And Estefania also asked, are we able to retrieve trips by booking number? I suppose it depends what you mean by booking number. You can add a trip into your, in a second, you can add a trip into one of your templates by going import trip and then just searching up whatever the trip name is, but that's not essentially, that's not the booking number. It's the trip name, essentially. Okay, and then Dana asked, so if I save clients' travel documents to the library, they could be displayed in the actual itinerary instead of just in the documents section. If I save clients' travel documents to the library, they could be displayed in the actual itinerary instead of just in document section. If you want something to appear in the actual body of the itinerary, there's two different options. So if it's a destination content, like it's a page or something, you would click on add from library like we did yesterday. And if it's one of your file attachments and you want to make it available in the main body of the trip, you can still do that. All you have to do is go to whatever you'd like it to be attached to. So I have, what do I have in my documents? I've got agency terms and conditions in my files. So I'm going to go to my terms and conditions here, or no, let's do before you go checklist. I'm going to click on view details. And then down here where it says attach file, I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to search my file attachments. So it's terms and conditions. So this is coming from those documents that I might currently have in my documents over here. So I'm going to attach that. And there's going to be a little paper clip icon here. And that means that I'm going to publish this and I'm going to make a trip from this. Example. Now I'm in my trip. I'm going to publish my trip so I can get the web view. And if I go down to before you go checklist, once that opens up, before you go checklist, more, you're going to see there's this link to the document that I have also stored up here in the documents tab if they just want to check out like overall what documents are attached to their trip, but they can also see it in the main body of their itinerary because I linked it to a segment. Okay, now I'm just going to wait to see if there's any more questions. I'm probably only going to do one or two more because I have to jump on a call right after this, but I'm just going to wait to see. Also going to clean up the mess that I made here at the same time. Sample trip to Western Canada. All that's good. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I'm going to end today's webinar. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody again for joining me this week, every single day. That was a huge commitment on everyone's part, and I really enjoyed all of you around and having all of your questions. So thank you again, and I'm going to be sending out a follow-up survey after this about what you thought about bootcamp or things you wish you would have seen more of or what we've covered, just so that we can continue to offer more, interactive webinars like this in the future and design them according to what you would have preferred to see or what you would have liked to have done during these. All right, so everybody have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.